Yeah, so I studied in Technische University at Hamburg, which is Hamburg University of Technology in English. And my course was Master of Science in Chemical and Bioprocess Engineering. Chemical engineering is actually a really vast industry. There is, I would say, there is no end to which field you can choose as a chemical engineer. Chemical engineering is like really vast, and you can find a food, like you can place your food on any industry, be it like food industry, cosmetic, even like manufacturing. Petroleum is one
Yeah. I
major.
was, sorry, Siva, I was about to say energy engineering, you said petroleum.
Yeah, petroleum and energy is one. Culture in Europe was a main point for me to choose Europe, to study in Europe, because it felt kind of similar on how people like live together with family or whatever. That was one point.
Very
And
nice.
the other point was like the standard of education as well, and the free tuition. The professors have all this like kind of interactive forum which is like open 24/7, where even the professor is not, I mean, in our like student portal there is a separate column, or even that time they use Discord links for each subject.
Discord, yeah.
Yeah, where even when the professor is not available, there will be like 3-4 tutors per course, so they'll be like helping us out even if it is out of working hour. So that was
Wow.
one thing. First semester was almost entirely all like compulsory subjects. There were 5 theory subjects and 1 lab. It was all compulsory, and then all non-technical and other language courses are like your choice. But first semester was all mandatory, and then in my second it was like 3 mandatory courses, and rest is all like your choice, like
So at
elective.
least, exactly, because I say always to my students, it's like building your own house. Fundamentals will be there. That is, compulsory subjects will be there. But still, the interiors and other things, you can do it as per your wish. Hello, everybody. Welcome, all of you. My name is Shivaraman, Director of Europe Study Center. In our continued episode of student interviews, today we are going to introduce and interview our student Shiva, who studied in Germany. Okay, welcome Shiva to the show.
Hello, hi everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for taking time out once our team reached out to you to accept our request to come on this interview. Thank you so much. So to start with, kindly introduce yourself to our audience, Shiva.
I'm Siva Subramanian Gurumurthy. I did my bachelor's in chemical engineering from Pondicherry Engineering College, and I finished my master's in chemical and bioprocess engineering from TU Hamburg.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So, in any specific reason to choose chemical engineering?
Yeah, I was always fascinated like to do something different, because I have quite few family members who were like more into mechanical or computer oriented fields.
Okay.
I always had this habit of being the one to stand out everywhere. So
Okay.
it was the basic where it started, but then over time, during high school and higher secondary, I had a fascination over genetics, but not. But the thing is, I was not like really interested in involving into the medical field. So I
Okay.
wanted to use my interest and in a way which can be a career where I can work in an industry or a research thing, where my interest can be put into forming a product which can help people, or into like creating new things.
Wonderful. Instead of like, you don't want to get into like research and be in the laboratory always, rather
Yeah,
you wanted to explore outside of laboratories, basically. That's why
yeah,
you choose chemical engineering, because it's a very classic example where when you pick up a chemical engineering, there is no need to do PhDs unless and until you want to. By
yeah,
force, you don't have to actually. But that's not the case when you pick up biology or biotechnology where you have to do your research basically. So because why I asked this about question about chemical engineering, because I personally like all these core engineering topics a lot. In the era of people only taking up all these computer science courses, when I heard from my staff, today we're going to do an interview with our chemical engineering students, I was really, really happy. Yes. So once you decided, like, you wanted to do your masters abroad. So what were all the options you were initially looking at before zeroing on Europe?
Yeah. So I was actually starting on with US and Canada, like most people does, but because I had my not ancestors exactly, but people from my family early on going there, and I had an idea of how it works over there, and people were like kind of guiding me on how
Super.
to like process it. But then somewhere down the lane, I felt like it is not really my thing, and in terms of even of expenses, it is a bit expensive than um, Europe. And when I started, it was in 2020, which was a time of COVID as well. So
Pandemic, yeah.
economy was also a point, but then yeah, but then like also the other point was the culture in Europe was a main point for me to choose Europe to study in Europe, because it felt kind of similar on how people like live together with family or whatever. That was one point.
Very
And
nice.
the other point was like the standard of education as well, and the free tuition fees as well. That was one reason.
So all this collectively, pandemic, why to very valid point, brother Siva. At this time, we don't know like how the world is going to recover, and you put a check of like 70 lakhs or 80 lakhs. It's not a safe decision by any stretch of imagination. So obviously, due to several other factors than Europe. So then, how did you get in touch with us? How did you find us actually, if you can remember? Or did
Oh,
you find Europe Study Center? Yeah.
yeah, I actually it was completely random because it was in October of 2019, I guess. He's still my friend. I had a friend who was going to Germany, and I didn't know he went through European Study Center. So
Okay.
he that is where I heard about you, like where like there is someone who's helping students to move for their masters. So through him I heard, and then like I just let it on go, and later at some point when my time actually he was my senior, so
Okay.
yeah, so when my time actually came, I was like following my original path of moving to Canada, and then it was going on. But at some point, there were so many changes, and I felt, why not give Europe a try? So then I remembered, okay, there was someone who went through you. So that is how I reached out to ASC.
Super. So once you visited us and discussed about your profile, how did you choose Germany? What are all the options our team gave you actually?
Oh, I remember you. I think yeah, they gave me like Germany. I was actually intended on going to Germany or France, but then
Okay.
when I visited, like I got a clarity that Germany is better option because France had its own cons. So that is where,
Yes.
yeah, and it still does, which after going there,
Yes.
I
Yes.
learned it is true. But yeah, at that time, I got a clarity that Germany is a better option.
Yes, Siva. Because Siva, we look into your profile, we give you what are all the options possible. Because you had the credentials to go to Germany. So why not? You will also be happy when we say Germany. But the problem comes when the student's credential doesn't match to go to Germany. Then he gets disappointed when we miss out on this country's name. So wonderful. So then the moment, how did you choose your universities basically?
The thing is, I had this, it was kind of difficult for, not difficult exactly, it was kind of tricky for me because I wanted to follow, like I said you earlier, I had a thing for genetics. So I wanted to pursue something bio-related, which is like
Okay.
something biotech, bioprocess, something. But my bachelor's was entirely chemical engineering and not even close to biotech. So it was kind of a tricky situation. There were I mean, there are options like I could have pursued chemical engineering and later on had my switch. But then I thought masters is a easier way to switch my stream way. So I kind of had like limited options, but then I chose like a few universities which were working for me.
Okay.
So that was like main criteria, but yeah, that
So
was the
basically, yeah, basically Shiva was trying to get slightly closer to the bio and
yeah,
mix with
exactly.
because brother, if you see a lot of the subject modules in even if you pick up chemistry or biotechnology, biochemistry and the chemistry and biology related subjects are at least 5 or 6 in their entire curriculum because it goes hand in hand. So
Yeah,
that made you choose this particular program in TUHH,
yeah,
correct? So
yeah.
how happy you were when you got a call from the German team of Europe Study Center stating that, okay, you have been admitted for the program. So how did you feel actually that moment?
Yeah, that I still remember that day. It was, I mean, I woke up really late that day. Out of
Okay.
every other day, I woke up that day, and I that was the first call for me on that day. I literally couldn't process what she said. I was like, is this even like, is this true or am I still sleeping kind of thing? But then I told my mom directly that I got a call, and then, okay, only then it soaked into me, and it took a while, but I was a sleepyhead when I literally got that call.
Super. Because see, by the way, tell us the audience which university you studied and what is the title of the master program.
Yeah, so I studied in Technische University at Hamburg, which is Hamburg University of Technology in English. And my course was Master of Science in Chemical and Bioprocess Engineering.
Wonderful. So basically, you mixed up your bachelor's plus your interest and passion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think you would have found a better course than chemical and bioprocess engineering to match your aspirations, basically.
yeah, to be
Yes.
honest, I still feel kind of lucky to have found this because I don't know if I would have had any other way to like do this instead of this course because this is like a
Yes.
really big turning point.
Yeah, wonderful. So the medium of instruction for your program was 100% English,
Yeah, it
correct?
was completely
And that
English.
completely English because even though people know German language and all those things, I strictly, follow this mantra of only 2-year programs at masters in Germany, and medium of instruction should be only English. And tuition fees, was there any tuition fees for your program?
No tuition fees is zero, just the semester contribution. That's it.
Yeah, that's like
That's it.
100, 200 euros per semester,
Was 230 something. Yeah.
230 euros per semester, which is like
Yeah.
literally free education. Wonderful. So, how did your visa process go at Europe Study Center?
It was really fine. Mine was kind of prolonged only because of COVID. Other than that,
Okay.
because we had like a really difficult time finding an appointment because back then we have to like wait on the call for a long time. That
Yes.
was the only problem. After like finding and like the appointment for the interview, then rest is all like really
Yeah.
smooth.
Because in general, if you look at whole of Europe, brother, the most streamlined visa processes, if you say top 3 countries, I would say Germany, Sweden, and Netherlands.
Yeah.
These 3 countries. So once you reached Germany, how was your studies, and what were all the initial challenges or certain things that you have to overcome? How was the initial days of yours in Germany?
Oh, mine was like it might sound repetitive, but like COVID was like a huge
Yes,
problem.
yes, yes.
Also, the university had some student programs where people kind of helped us to settle in our initial days. So it wasn't like completely I was not alone. There were people to help and assist us at least. So yeah,
Okay.
it was not
How did that super? How did the accommodation work? University gave you an accommodation, or you found it on your own?
No, I had to find on my own because the thing
Okay.
is, at least with major TUs in Germany, they don't offer their own accommodation or dorms.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of related with student and work. So that is like the list is endless and it goes on. But somehow there are people who found it easily, but I was not there on the right time maybe, so I had to find on my own. So
Plus
yeah,
the COVID also. Yeah,
yeah, that was
it
a
adds to the
thing.
it
Yeah.
for every activity or every progress of yours at that point of time. I mean, the COVID factor also makes it even more challenging.
Yeah,
Yes,
that was a big thing back then because it was a problem everywhere, like
for
at every
everybody,
level.
everybody. Super. So, how do you compare your education back home in India and your education at Hamburg University?
Yeah, I would say it is like two like completely different things because here, I mean, this I wouldn't compare the technical stuff because it is two different things, so I can't exactly compare. But in terms of like the work culture and like interaction with professors or the tutors, I would say here it is more of like kind of how we are like having like not personal connection, but we are the professors are like easily accessible here.
Super.
Like we can just go whenever and ask them whatever we need. But then there it is all like perfectly not yeah, it's like streamlined and like
Fixed. It's on the
yeah,
stone. No changes.
yeah, you have to like get appointments first and you have to like visit them only during that time, and you can't even call them out of working hours or whatever. So that is one thing. But then like I would say, and this doesn't make them like any less accessible or whatever, because they were like even there being an international student, I still got like adequate help from everyone so that it was easy for me to like go through with the course.
Super. So, when it comes to the learning aspect, what all changes you had to do from Indian learning system to an European learning system? So, where you be, where you did you make any changes in your learning process?
Yeah, it was quite different, I would say, because even at back in my bachelor's, it we were on our own. Like it's not like we got note like it might sound like unique, but then we didn't get like written notes or like proper things from our college, which was a good thing because our professors wanted us to explore on our own. So
Yeah.
it was the teaching style was similar for me between my bachelor's and master. But then the thing was here the change has to be made in terms of the exams because here we had like tests during like in between the semesters and some assignments or assignments to like to know what type of exam it will be, and there will be like a fixed pattern. It will be like short answer thing, long answer question, multiple choice. It will be like that. But there, the exam has absolutely no pattern. It can be anything and whatever. Only thing you'll know is like from the slides or the presentation of professors, you'll know like these are the topics you should like learn about. That is the only if I hear when I was in bachelor's, I was able to like at least have an idea like okay, these are the topics, and there was a clear theoretical view of things. Their exam is like only when you go there you'll know okay, today this was the pattern of the exam or whatever.
But which one did you like, Shiva? The German pattern or this back home pattern?
I would say both has its own like perks here. And the thing was like here it is like easier for you because you know that this you have to prepare certain things. But in my German exams it was like completely random, and which was like really difficult in my first semester. I found it like really hard to cope up because I still remember my very first exam. I don't even know what to study like or what to prepare for my exam. I was completely blank. I still remember we were like four of my classmates, we got together and we were like, okay, let's just scan through the slides and every presentation the professor gave. But one good thing was like the professors have all this like kind of interactive forum which is like open 24/7, where even the professor is not, I mean, in our like student portal, there is a separate column, or even that time they use Discord links for each subject.
This cause, yeah.
Yeah, where even when the professor is not available, there will be like 3, 4 tutors per course. So they'll be like helping us out even if it is out of working hour. So that was
Wow.
one thing helping us. And they have special like kind of tutoring sessions during exams. So if you need special help, or like if you can't understand something before the exam, you can take those sessions. That is what helped it. And to answer your question, I would prefer prefer both, but I'm slightly inclined more towards the German thing because it was quite challenging, and like it
Challenging.
is kind of
Wonderful.
competitive to like learn more. Like you'll be learning
Yes.
more.
Shiva, as I was telling you, I've done almost close to 20 interviews now. So everybody said one particular point the same. That is, first semester was challenging. Yes. And then those who are successfully completed the degree, they said after the first semester, we sat down, understood what to be done, what should not be done, and then make the corrective changes so that we became successful and completing the degree on time. That is what I asked you. What changes Shiva did, to your studies basically. So as I know, I also studied in Sweden. So per semester you'll be studying 30 credits. So how many will be like compulsory subjects? How many will be like optional, something like that?
It is first semester was all. It depended on the course as well. It's not same for everyone, but
Yeah.
for me, like for first semester was almost entirely all like compulsory subjects. There were 5 theory subjects and 1 lab. It was all compulsory, and then all non-technical and other language courses are like your choice. But first semester was all mandatory, and then in my second, it was like 3 mandatory courses, and rest is all like your choice, like
Super. So at
elective.
least exactly, because I say always to my students, it's like building your own house.
Yeah.
Fundamentals will be there. That is, compulsory subjects will be there. But still, the interiors and other things, you can do it as per your vision will. That's what I asked you, whether optional subjects are given. That's what I wanted to ask, basically. So, you are also explaining about how good these professors were. Because, especially by default, chemical engineering itself is a really challenging subject. Okay. And professors' knowledge and their teaching methodologies is very important for the student to get the complete knowledge and complete the degree on time. So, any few words about your professors?
My, yeah, I should be actually first thankful to my 2 professors in particular, because
Super.
most of my theory courses were online because of COVID, so I didn't
Yes.
get to meet every single one in person. But I did my project and thesis both from different institutes. But I picked my first institute from one of my classes, which was technical microbiology. So I picked that professor as my supervisor for my project. And that is so he was like, I sometimes felt like really silly to ask some things, but he just made me like, you're here to learn, so you shouldn't like feel embarrassed to ask whatever. That was
Yes.
one very first thing I heard from him, because on
Super.
my very first day I was like stuck on a very simple some molar calculation or something, and it was like he knew me from my classes because I did my class with him the previous semester and my project in the next semester. So he was like, you were like fine with your calculations, so why are you like overthinking everything? Just keep it simple. And if you don't know, there were PhD people there to help as well. And I had my like tutor for my project, so he helped me as well. And that was one thing. And I still admire him because the way he kind of he teaches, like whatever he teaches, I don't have to like come back and like kind of read it every time or whatever. Once he teaches, like I make note of everything, and then I'll just look at it before the exam. He was like that if I shouldn't tell efficient because but he was like really good at it, and that was he was one person I was like really particular about, and I got to spend time with him a lot and learn a lot during my project period. That was a great experience, and I still have huge respects for him for that.
Yes, brother. Why I asked this question, Shiva? Because masters, especially when we go abroad and all those things, professors play a very major role. Even
Yeah.
with me, I'm still in touch with all my professors and they follow me on Instagram. I follow them on them. No, it's like bonding forever, basically.
Yeah.
You know,
Very
in
true.
between the interview, Shiva, I was just watching some posts where I saw a college meme. I don't want to say the college's name. No placements given, no good professors, huge tuition fees, but just for one day I have not got my ID card, they are not letting me in. It was a meme basically. So instead of being very friendly and calm and nice to the students, not everybody, there are exceptions, but the relationship is always very very cold. Yeah, that is what I feel basically. Then enlighten us about your the networkings. Who are all your classmates, which all nationalities you had in your class?
Yeah. So I don't know if I can say it, but
Okay.
it no, no, no. The thing is, there were it is not like previous times where like there were very less Indians to connect or whatever. My class was majorly Indians, which can sound like a drawback to people, but it was fine. It wasn't. But apart from Indians, we had like people across Europe. We had like French people. We had people from Sweden and also from the Middle Eastern countries. We had people from Iraq. I had a classmate from Israel. So it
Wow.
was kind of widespread. And my batchmate from lab was a Canadian. So he's from Canada. So
Wonderful.
yeah.
Wonderful. So this is the only moment, where you can, before your work life, to interact with different nationalities, bachelors or masters abroad is the only way, basically.
Yeah, very true.
Wonderful. So tell us about your final semester project. What was the topic?
Oh, it's quite long, but my project was on genetic and
One, one second. When you said, the the reaction that you gave when I asked about your master thesis, also as a student who did master thesis in Europe, I know like what it would have taken out from your life, by the time you finished your master thesis, correct?
yeah, no,
That,
no, yeah, yeah, and no, it's kind of
okay, both. Yeah, please. What was your master thesis? Enlighten us about that. Little bit about that, your project.
yeah. So my project was, should I tell my entire title
No, no,
or
no. Just what
just
topic.
yeah, yeah,
See,
because
brother, see, when I put this video, in the title itself, I'll put chemical engineering. You
oh,
understand? So all these chemical aspirants at the school level planning to do chemical engineering and all those things. So to certain extent, other than the general topics, I talk little bit about the technical stuffs also. So all these people will get really, inspired and interested. Okay, these sort of topics are also there. That's why, nothing else. And
yeah.
also, please explain in a way a layman understands, even when it comes to
Yeah,
chemical.
I'll not complicate. So yeah, I've mentioned to you earlier as well, my interest was in genetics. So which I got to work in my master thesis as well. It was genetic engineering of a bacteria to produce like butanediol, which so many people have. It is basically an alcohol, which if I have to mention in layman terms, just converting sugars into alcohol. But
Okay.
the the thing with my particular work was like butanediol is used as an alternative fuel in future. So it and not just that, but it is getting more popular nowadays because it is one of like renewable resources, and it doesn't harm the environment as much as other chemical products. So this
Super.
has its own perks. So this particular product is being studied at least a lot across Germany. I'm not sure about Europe, but in Germany, this is kind of a focus currently because it helps in so many fields. So the product is now significant. So my particular project was not developing exactly, but modifying an existing organism which can help us produce more of the particular product, because the industrial processes now currently focuses more on the chemical route. So
Okay.
we are trying to move it towards the bioprocessing route, which makes use of all enzymes and not plant-based, but like environmental friendly products.
Super, super. So, in the era of all the kids choosing different topics, where we have Shiva, who followed his passion and interest and made all steps leading towards that. And, that's what, it took you to your uh, master's in chemical and bioprocess engineering. Looking back, at all your journey and all your time spent in Germany, do you think like, or how do you feel now? You have made a right decision of exploring this particular segment of your life. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I actually feel like really good about it, because I am someone who always takes good out of whatever happens. The more I'm anxious about something, the more happy I'm about it as well. So I am like kind of contradicting about it, but I felt like really good about my master's in Germany, because personally, apart from the career switch I did, apart from that, I got to learn a lot from them technically and culturally. So there were a lot of new learnings for me. And also Germany as like uh particularly why Germany was good in the sense, like whatever I thought I wanted to do with my career, Germany was like Germany had so many uh, things which were relatable to me, which currently happens there. So the place and the university were like perfect for me, and the timing worked out well. So it was all working in my good, I would say.
Super, super. Even though, brother, uh, in the abroad education segment, it's so easy to sit and process all the countries, but we take all the pains in a sense, the process is long. As you know, nowadays they have introduced this APS also.
Yeah.
And then this VPDs and the uni assist. Oh my God, so many things. But no pain, no gain. For instance, you have to join IIT. Now, Shiva, the kid, the small kid prepares from sixth grade to join these institutions. Whereas when you want to join other institutions in India, the student need not prepare anything. Only the parents need to prepare their bank balance. That's all. Nothing else. That's how it is. It's great, to learn about all your experiences. And lastly, before we wind up, some words about the younger minds back home in our country planning to take up chemical engineering for their bachelor's or master's. What you would like to tell them, and also the upcoming technologies that they should focus on when it comes to chemical engineering and bioprocess domain. Enlighten the audience, please.
Yeah, so if they know what it is, chemical engineering is actually a really vast industry. There is, I would say, there is no end to which field you can choose as a chemical engineer. Chemical engineering is like really vast, and you can find a food, like you can place your foot on any industry, be it like food industry, cosmetic, even like manufacturing. Petroleum is one
Yeah. I
major.
was, sorry, Siva, I was about to say energy engineering, you said petroleum.
Yeah,
Yes.
petroleum and energy is one major field, and apart from that, like I would say, if you look at your room and if you have a look at every single product, that would have like a work of a chemical and engineer. So, as someone who is like inspired to do chemical engineering in future, you actually had a great choice because there is no limit on what you can do. It is like a really great thing to study. And
Yes.
for your second part, like what people should focus in the future, I just want to clarify, is it like what chemical engineers should focus or like the particular?
No. Some upcoming new technologies under the chemical engineering domain, which you would have got exposed to in Germany, na? That's what I asked.
Yeah, okay. So do we I one thing what I saw was people are like we could have heard of this Euro 2050 2030 or 2050 project. I'm not sure over the year. I think that is focusing more on the renewable energy field. So now currently they are focusing more on majorly mostly on the alternative fuels. Yeah, I
Yeah.
was looking for the word. Yeah, so they were like focusing on it, and most and now one thing I saw different there was like people they I mean not people, the industries there are actually following the bioprocesses more rather than the traditional chemical route. So it is evolving there, so which eventually will reach across the globe, and
Super.
someday everywhere will be like more sustainable to the environment, which can make us all have a better place.
Super. 2 points I want to tell you and update you, Shiva. One thing is, I've been traveling to all the colleges down south and all those things. It's so sad to see, chemical engineering department is closed.
Oh,
Very sad. Not only chemical, bro, civil, mechanical, aeronautical, food technology. 95% of the college teaches only artificial intelligence, data science, data analytics, machine learning, cyber security. Very sad. Very sad. I'm not against these courses. But if you come and tell me, you know, only these courses are good, I beg to differ. And secondly, when a chemical engineering student walks into a counselor, in an abroad education office, they should have the clarity. For example, a chemical engineering student, as you said, can study food technology, can study energy engineering, can study materials engineering. These three are the major topics. But this knowledge they should have, La Shiva. Then only they can guide the younger minds. And plainly, you give them some course. These young minds, they also make wrong choices. Wonderful. So thank you so much, taking time out. And by the way, audience, we are recording this on a Sunday. And Shiva has taken out time to come up to this interview, because this interview, as you would have seen, in this interview, we spoke hardly 30-40 seconds about Europe Study Center. That is not the agenda of this interview. The agenda of this interview is, there is chemical engineering. You can study this in Germany, and you have so much of opportunities. By the way, how prepared you should be before you start this journey. That was the whole idea of this interview. Thank you so much, Shiva, taking time out, doing this interview. Any last few words before we sum up?
yeah. So I had this thing in my mind. I just noticed the date today. Today is like 22nd December. I just remembered this was the exact date where I visited ESE
Oh.
for the first time in 2019. It was like such a random coincidence, but it happened now. I was like thinking of it.
By the way, how do you remember the day?
I have kind of a good memory with dates. So yeah.
Because the day you had good informations, maybe you remember that way. It's an amazing coincidence, brother. Exactly after 5 years,
Yeah.
one more connection with Europe Study Center. Thank you,
Mhm.
because bro, you have helped all these. I have told this in all the interviews. I don't mind telling in this interview. I had one comment from a parent. Sir, I saw the interview. It was really good. And I'm watching it with my 7-year-old daughter. That 7-year kid, listening bioprocess engineering. And even if she goes to chat GPT and type what is bioprocess engineering, bro, I'm happy. This interview would have done the justice. Thank you so much, Shiva, and to come up to this interview. It was a pleasure talking to you. Me, on behalf of Europe Study Center and all the audience, we wish you all the very best for your future.
Thank you so much. I had a great time as well. And I felt like at ease because I kind of get anxious when I talk to people because this interview setup is kind of anxious for everybody every time, but I was completely at ease. I was very happy
This
to be.
was like, no preset questions, just a
Yeah.
casual talk. What has actually happened? That's why, we never send any questions or anything. We just say it's a casual talk. That's all. Nothing else. Thank you so much and best wishes to you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Thank you.